gentle rain. Like all the others thought I'd never see you again, but you had this way about you that made it seem so right. So put your loving arms around me and we'll hold each other tight. There's always days like this when I love to kiss you by the babbling brook. When I try to tell you the things I feel, I'm like an open book. So I'm feeling blue, I just think of you and sing you the truth. Love this song with a grateful heart. Your smile always brightens my way, even on my cloudy day. Always happy when I'm with you. Love this song with a grateful heart. Some say truths were only meant to be lived apart. Love this song. Never live without you. Was for. After on that day I touched your face and you opened the door. I had to let go of my past and reach out to you at last. You made everything fall away and stole my heart so fast. Can't wait to see you soon, so I'm setting off this afternoon. Driving down this old highway to you, my mind is singing this tune. So now you're in my dreams, but don't you marry me by the light of the moon. Love this song with a grateful heart. Your smile always brightens my way, even on my cloudy day. Always happy when I'm with you. Love this song with a grateful heart. Some say truths were only meant to be lived apart. I could never live without you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to It Matters Radio. This is Monica Brinkman, and with me is the lovely Kerry Hall. If this is the first time that you've been with us, we want to let you know that this is an exciting show because we do stream music during the weekdays, but on Sunday, we get to let you have an inside peek on the people behind the music. And we always think that it's kind of nice to know a little bit about them, that they are human and you can relate with them. So I hope you enjoy the show. And Carrie, I see a wonderful picture here of a gentleman with a beard and glasses and a hat. Can you introduce us?
Cool guy.
Yeah.
Jerry Hall, folks. He hails from Memphis, Tennessee, now living in England. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Singer, songwriter, arranger, amazing, music library. Hi, Jerry, and welcome to the show.
Hello, Kerry. How are you? This is Jerry Hill, all the way from Keystep-on-Hall in England.
Cool.
Hello, Jerry.
Hello,
Jerry, we are
Monica. How are you doing?
Wonderful,
we're
wonderful.
Jerry, we're so excited to talk to you because you come from Memphis, Tennessee. Talk a little bit about how you started in the music business there. And my second question is, why England?
Well, from Memphis, Tennessee. That's right. Yeah, that's where I'm from. Grew up all my life there. Well, about 40 some odd years of my life there, and I'd say probably in my teens I started learning how to play the piano. Grew up with a very musically inclined family in Memphis. My late father was like a guitarist, Chet Atkins style guitarist. Four sisters, two sets of twins that was very musically inclined and sang, gospel music, and we all sang in church. And then later on, I did that. And as I, got older, I started to get into. Well, one day, a very young Jerry Hull heard some Elton John on the radio airwaves. And it just hit me. I just thought that's exactly what I want to do. I want to play piano like him. I want to, do everything like that. Very impressionable, 13 years old. And so it started from there, and I got my piano lessons and everything. And then many moons later, as I started growing up, I got with some friends in high school. We formed a little band, and then from there it kind of took off. We started doing some nightclubs, night spots around. I lived in a small area called South Haven in Mississippi, which was only a stone's throw away from Memphis. And we'd do all these little spots everywhere, and then from there, it just kind of migrated along as I went from band to band, and found myself in Memphis doing night spots, and found myself in Beale Street later on, and then doing some little gigs there, and then all of a sudden. Met some people that invited me to come over to L.A., and then over to L.A. I went, and then across the United States through Route 66 from Los Angeles up into Toronto. And so 24 years later, I found myself back in Memphis and met a young lady from Yorkshire, England, which we got very involved with talking to each other at a products show. Actually, I'm an architectural designer by trade, which was kind of handed down to me by my father. And that's the actual job you see on the side that brings, food to the table, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Like everybody has, So, from there, we just met, and that's what brought me to England. And so for the last, it's kind of like, what's that? Do you know the movie Mr. Holland's Opus? Do you know that
Yes.
one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You know where he says in the movie where he says, Richard Dreyfuss, he says, it started off being a small gig and it just wound up being a lot longer than I thought it was, And he started off small, and then he just wound up staying at school. And well, anyway, it's kind of like me. I thought, I'm just going to come to England, and it's just going to be a visit. And guess what? I've been here for 15 years. so it has really been a very positive influence on my life in every which way but loose. And to answer your questions, I think I'm hitting points on them. It's been a very positive influence in the way I write, and most definitely in the way that I've kind of slowed down, from the very fast, busy life back in the United States, Memphis, oh gosh, a big city life, and then out to Los Angeles and all that stuff, and slow down and smell the roses, as it were, and afford myself to just kind of slow down and sit down and get serious about laying some tracks down, which I've done in the last 24, 30 months. And I've got very serious in excess of about 300 songs. And all these years, I guess you could say it's just accumulation of experience that I finally decided, I'm going to get busy and lay down seriously some tracks, which I've done. And so much so that it's been a very much of a creative spurt. I don't know if you could put it down to a midlife crisis or whatever, but I think it's just an accumulation of just, experiences. And I decided I would just go ahead and start putting these down. And I'd say probably in the last 30, it's been April of 2015. I've laid down, 70 really strong tracks in 4 albums that have been released. And this has been since April. So 4 albums out. And I've got a 5th one on the way.
Amazing.
Amazing. I want to talk to a little bit about Beale Street. I mean, I've heard so much about Beale Street. Tell us a little bit about your experience there.
Bill Street. Oh God, that was as a kid, I mean, I basically just grew up there, going there all the time as a kid. And, before I was ever a piano player, and I remember going up there as a kid, say about 10, 12, 13, before I started playing the piano and going up there, and just checking out the sights and so forth, and just growing up in Memphis, through all of that. But then as a musician and getting into that, I started playing the little night spots like Silky Sullivan's, I think was the first one. And then, B.B. King's. And one night I was in B.B. King's and I was listening to somebody play guitar, and, sitting at the bar, and I said, who is that playing the guitar? That is just freaking fantastic. I said, well, he ought to be, because that's Jimi Hendrix's cousin. And I went, you got to be kidding. And so I was very surprised at that. So, just little stories like that I can remember. But then, this band that I kind of came out with that kind of got me into the Beale Street, thing, the scene there. I kind of went away from them and started doing my own little solo acts here and there. So that's where one night I met some friends that we were talking around a table, and I said, you really ought to come out with us to Los Angeles and do some stuff out there. And, I said, and then all of a sudden it just made my eyes get really big. You know how they say stars in your eyes,
Mm-hmm.
I just thought, oh, wow, and, country boy from Memphis. Well, not a country boy, but, a city boy kind of, from the country, southern part of the United States. And you kind of want to go, oh, Los Angeles. That would just, I've always, you either got to hate it or love L.A., as they say. Mm-hmm. And Los Angeles really, and I know I'm getting away from the Beale Street question, but that's kind of where it started there, Kerry, is, with the gigs there and then the friends that invited me over. And, and I'm leaving out a lot of the stuff about, the crazy nights and so forth, but I think we can, probably just skip by that. Skip by all that.
Jerry.
We are a pretty free show, so you can do R-rated if you want to.
I don't want to go in.
No, Jerry, that's okay. Jerry, I have to say something in listening to you right now. I mean, you have a wonderful voice.
Thank you very much.
A wonderful speaking voice.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
So, that was Elvis. No.
Well, they say that all of us boys from Memphis, we all kind of come from the same cut, the sound, and, even though I've been here in England for 15 years, I know when I talk with Americans back in the States, like I am now, they usually say, you've been in England for 15 years and your voice hasn't changed. You still have the Memphis accent. And I'm thinking, well, should it change? And I'm really glad that it hasn't changed, because I'm very proud of where I'm from, and it's just always going to be that way. And I think the other day I was down by the river. There's a river here called Humber River where I live in Yorkshire. I live in an area called East Riding. And coincidentally, Kingston upon Hull, the same name as my name, Hull.
I know, that's interesting.
See.
So, do you think you owned some land back in the early days, Jerry?
Oh, maybe so. I don't know. Possibility.
That's great. So, Jerry, you have a new CD that came out in 2016 called Made in Memphis. Talk a little bit about that, the newest, and some of the songs, especially Valentina. Valentina made #1.
Oh, yeah.
So talk a little bit about your new LP.
Okay. Well, Valentina has been doing really, really well. Actually better than I thought it would be. And so, when you pick a single off an album to go first, it's easier said than done. And, it was a throw of the dice. I mean, I didn't just close my eyes and say, okay, this one. I had to really think it through, as I do with all my albums when I, think of a single that's coming out. But Made in Memphis came about, before I talk about Valentina, I think partially from my love sickness from Memphis, and occasionally I'll think about where it is that I'm from, and sometimes I'll look at some old pictures and say, oh God, I miss that, or I miss this, or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then I realize that, hey, but this is my home that I've made. I'm very happy. So you go back and you look at it and you think this and you think that, and you realize that this is the life I've made for myself, and it's really been great, and it's really like I say, influenced me in a lot of positive ways. But that was part of the reason why Made in Memphis came along. The other reason is that I wanted to do something that was more back to my roots instead of something that was more English, which I really love doing. I love English inspired stuff, and I think everybody has been influenced by the Beatles at some degree,
Right,
even if they
right.
say they don't like the Beatles or
Yes.
they don't, or they're not part of the Beatles. They still inadvertently have been affected by the Beatles, so that's just tough. It's just part of it. But for me, I love the Beatles, so it's always been an influence on me. So the earlier albums, I have a first one debut called "Heaven Help Me," and then a second one called "Shadows of the Sun," a third one that just came out only just 4 months before the release of Made in Memphis, called Cherokee Moon, and this one has 28 tracks on it.
Wow.
And I just
That's
thought I
a
would try
lot.
to do
Yeah.
myself. I thought I'd try to outdo myself, which I did. It was actually almost too much more than I could chew off for myself. But then
Right.
after that, I thought I would slow down a little bit and go, oh, you know what? I'm just going to do 12 tracks this time, which is still, a lot of tracks. And then on top of that, I'm just going to put 2 tracks that I released in Halloween, a Halloween track called Creepy Crawly back in 2015 that I never did put on an album as a hard track, and then also a Christmas song that I released back in 2015.
Yeah, I saw both of those. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of music right now, I think we need to take a break and
Yeah.
listen to some of this fantastic music. So, folks, get ready and enjoy, and we'll be right back and speak with Jerry Hull.
Well, I'm a good old boy. I keep my motor clean. I met you last night in that track group scene. You know the one that's so plasticine. I kick on my caffeine. Yeah. Well, I ain't gonna tell you no lies. And when I told you I found you there in your profile, you know the one where you're looking stated and nearly half naked. Woo! You don't go for women like that, and then you sent me with your message. As a matter of fact, I knew it was time to hit the block button on that drama queen act. Yeah, just liking just a bit of social tap. I ain't no social media drama queen. I'm just a music making machine. Praying, Lord, Lord, why can't you just let me be? Just call me Mr. Cavalier. Go ahead, disagree. No social media drama queen. You know I'm just a music making machine. Yeah, yeah, go ahead and disagree. It don't matter to me, 'cause I gotta get out of here. This place is gonna party out in space, yeah. 'Cause Lord knows I ain't no social media drama queen. No. Let me tell you about it. Well, got too many good things happening to me than sit around reading someone else's please. You know the ones like they up a banana tree like a wild banshee. Well, you know what I mean, that life is too short. Gonna fly off to Vegas down at the airport. You know the one where I got my blood escort headed to the resort. Well, I usually don't go for women like that, and then you zap me with your message. As a matter of fact, I knew it was time to hit the block button on this drama queen act. I can just a bit of social tap. I ain't no social media drama queen.
Welcome back to It Matters Radio and our wonderful, wonderful guest, Jerry Hall, originally from Memphis, Tennessee, that area, now living in Hull in the UK, which is interesting because the names are the same. Jerry, I wanted to ask you, since you've been in the business so long, what changes have you seen that have been good, and what changes have you seen that have been bad?
Well, I think that one of the changes that comes to mind that have been good is that everything is just so much more accessible, and even that has a double-edged sword, of everything being more easier to access because of the cyber era that we're in. It affords people like you guys that help indie artists that I admire very much, and hats off to both of you. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak about this information and other artists such as me. But before that, it was kind of an elite pick. I guess that would be the bad side. Is that back in the old days before any of this, and this is to our younger audience because that's the era that we're in. There was no such thing as any of this.
No.
And so, an interview would be either even before MTV, there was no MTV.
Yeah.
There was just concerts, there was shows,
Right.
there was gigs, and the interviews were just right on the spot, and usually they would be, introduced into a radio station and done that way. And so I would say that that's probably the downside in the respect that a lot of artists didn't have a chance, but now everybody has a chance. And I'd say probably the downside to that, and I can just all night go upside and downside, is that anybody can be. There's no elite pick anymore. And the good thing is that everybody can try if they want to, just like kind of like if you're in school and you're an artist, in the way of drawing paintings and stuff. Well, anybody can try, whether you're good or whether you're not. And whether you're talented or whether you're not, you've got a chance to try. Whereas in the old days, there was no everybody. It was only an elite group that was picked, by record companies.
Right.
And, I think some other goods and bads is recording quality and equipment. Whereas in the old days, I think that the sound equipment in those days, like tube type amps and things like that, Kerry, were more warmer. And then these days it's just more dull and colder. It doesn't have the depth that it used to have back in, say, the days that you would put on like, Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road or the Beatles, Hard Day's Night or something. It just didn't have that warmth that we have today. So the upside is that they have this technology that's available to people like myself, if you've got the money. And I don't, it was kind of hard for me to come by, but they have these little, what they call, plugins that you can use, with your digital audio workshops, and it will mimic the warmth of those old days, Cool. I think a lot of youngsters probably don't really realize it, but there's probably some out there that do. And I'm sure there's a great deal of them that are trying to seek after arts very sought after the old way of doing things, because they also admire what we have come to love, and they've come to love it as well. But I think that's some ups and downs. So hope I didn't ramble too much there.
So, we've been talking, Monica and I, about the differences between, Europe and America as far as, recording and singing and stuff. Do you think America's not the place to go these days for tours? And do you think better in Europe?
I think that you just need to grab a hold of it as much as you can get. I don't think that either one is better or less better. Okay. I think that each area, if you want to compare with the United States, has their own ups and downs as far as, here is a part that's more, beneficial to me, or this is a part that's not. I've noticed that the things that you do here in the UK are more beneficial than things you do in the United States, and vice versa. There are things in the United States I can do that are more beneficial than here. So I would say that if you can, as an artist, whether you're indie or whether whatever, grab them all. Okay. Go for all of them.
Right.
What have happened to the days of touring, though, of people actually backing their artist and taking them on tours?
because of what we're doing right now, because of the cyber world. The cyber world has seat ridden everybody into a seat, into a camera, or at their PC talking with each other, and they've forgotten what life is all about. Very sadly, I wouldn't generalize it like that, as that's the way it actually is. But I'm assuming that's probably one of the reasons, Monica. I mean, if I had to guess,
Mm.
you know.
Well, it's just that not that I don't love listening to music. I do. And I love
Yeah.
looking at videos, music videos, but there is nothing that beats seeing someone
Oh yeah.
live.
Yeah. Oh
Because
yeah.
yeah, and I just don't understand how people are content to not have that happen.
It's sad.
I do know the pricing has gone up so much though
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
to
Like
go
everything else.
to concerts, and but if there were more tours and there was more competition, those prices would go down.
That's true. That's true. I totally agree with that. It's sad that point that you're pointing out. It's a dying art. It's a dying
Yeah.
art, and you see it all the time on the internet. People talk about it on Facebook, on Twitter. You see people posting things like, support your artist, your local artist at a concert, and it's always on the internet more than it is. And I think that it's the internet that has a lot to do with it, Monica. And the downplaying, the dismantling of what used to be a great culture of going out and rock and rolling and supporting. I can think of so many great shows that I've been to, man.
Yes.
Me too.
It was such a great time, and people now the internet. See, to me, internet is, well, I think it's fascinatingly beneficial in so many ways, but then on the other side, it also is very evil, and it takes away from everybody. And, so I think that it has maybe more bad than it does good. So, that's just the way it is. That's the way life is now,
Right.
Yeah.
unfortunately.
But I'm hoping things will change though, because
I'm hoping it will too. Yeah.
because I know that more people would go out and support their artists if they could afford to.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I think so too. I think so too.
I mean, I remember when there were free concerts. I mean, we're taking
Oh,
them
yeah.
on,
yeah. Me too.
Jefferson Airplane, and
Oh,
all
yeah.
of them.
Janis Joplin. Oh my
Janis
God.
Joplin.
Oh, Janis Joplin. Yeah.
Or it would
There was a little
cost us
shell.
$10 to see Jimi Hendrix.
I know. It's amazing how it is. And they got. I remember, when you said Janis Joplin, you were saying Jimi Hendrix and stuff. It reminded me in Memphis back in the '60s. There was a small, and I was just a kid. There was a small little venue called the Shell, the quote unquote the Shell, and basically it was just a little, kind of like an acoustically built arena, old fashioned kind of thing. And people, I remember going as a kid and sitting in the audience and seeing people like Leonard Skinner, and nobody knew who Leonard Skinner was.
Right.
Nobody knew who they were before they made it famous. And these concerts were free. They were free.
Yeah.
And everybody did, nobody was bothered. Everybody had a great time. Nobody, there wasn't so much, should I say, aggressiveness as there is today. There wasn't so much, I've got to, scratch and paw and whatever to have a good time. I think people back in those days knew how to have a good time better than they do today. But then on the other hand, I don't want to get beaten up for that, because you've got loads of people right now. I mean, I see it all the time that go to these concerts all over the place.
Yeah, exactly.
I've
Yay for them.
got a friend up in Toronto, Yeah, there you go. I've got a friend up in Toronto that goes to shows all the time, and he posts all these different shows and things. And I go, wow. So see, it's still alive. That spirit of wanting to go out, like we all agree,
Right.
is really still existing, but it's very far and few and in between. So.
Exactly.
Speaking of live versus video, Jerry, do you like live performing, or do you prefer doing the old YouTube thing?
Well, I really prefer to do the live performing. I really prefer to do that, and I wouldn't mind doing some YouTube stuff. And that's that's one of the reasons why I opted out of doing any video with you today is because, well, for one reason, my manager suggested that it wouldn't be such a good idea at the moment until I do a live performance.
Okay.
And it's a kind of that kind of thing. But you know what? I think that my preference would be a live performance over YouTube, and then the YouTube can just be part of it.
Yes.
Just kind of come off of it.
Well, you've got some great songs, Jerry. I listened to a bunch of them. I have so many favorites. You
Thank you
Never
very much.
Knew from Cherokee Moon. Talk a little bit about that song.
Cherokee Moon is a 28-track album.
I'm
And spoke of earlier, and the title track Cherokee Moon is, well, the whole album and theme in Cherokee Moon, and why I'm talking about Cherokee is because my relatives are Cherokee and are partially Cherokee, and I'm so therefore partially Cherokee. And so I thought, I want to, kind of pay homage to, the Cherokees. And so I thought it would be cool if I were to write a song. And so the inspiration was there, you see, and it was cooking. And so I decided, okay, what am I going to do? And then all of a sudden this idea about a moon and going out into the desert and walking with your tribe and you can see the images in your head and, it could have been that way. It may not have been exactly that way, but, that's a writer's prerogative. And so that's where the idea came from in the song Cherokee Moon and, the words talking about how, I'm going to go out into the desert land and the moon is going to guide me at night and things like that. And it's very sobering and very sad.
Yes.
Because of what's happened or what happened,
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I try to portray. And I think also the influence from Elton John and his song from Madman Across the Water, I think it was Indian Sunset, played a little bit of a part in my influence on that song as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Great songs. I have to mention one that I just saw. Social Media Drama Queen. That is so cool. I love that. Tell me about that song a little bit.
Social Media Drama Queen. Well, I thought that one day that, it just kind of occurred to me. I was thinking, what am I going to write about today? And I thought, why not, instead of doing something that I want to do that's more self-indulgent, that I might be able to get people to relate to in my world of experience, in my own little backyard of experience, why don't I do something that's happening right now? And, sometimes, you'll be watching TV or like a news announcement or something like that, or a commercial, and something will come across and you'll go, hey, I want to do something like that. It kind of inspires you. Well, the social media thing, I was right in front of my face. I'm going, social media. Okay. And, there's been so many times where, you get a message out of nowhere from somebody you do not know.
True.
And they will say something just so totally crazy and inappropriate that, and that's just part of social media. And so I thought, why don't I write about that? And that's exactly what I did. And in some of the songs, in some of the words, I decided I would kind of place myself and my persona, like in Las Vegas, and part of the story would be that instead of sitting here listening to this crazy person talking to me, I think I'd rather just be on a Learjet flying out to Las Vegas and having a great time and living for a change instead of sitting at a computer, listening to some crazy person. So that's really where the idea came from.
That's a great song. I love the song. I just went, whoa. Social Media Drama Queen.
I think a lot of people can relate to that song.
I think so. That's one of the reasons why I, decided to do it. I thought they would be able to relate to it because I'm, who has not gotten a crazy message from that do not know, and you just wonder, what is this all about? And so that's kind of what the song's about.
Yeah, it's great.
I love the song, Jerry. Jerry, speaking of music, where can we find your music and where can we find you?
Well, you can find my music firstly at all your favorite stores online at iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, Deezer, And you can find me at reverbnation.com/Jerry Hall. That's reverbnation.com/Jerry Hull, JerryHull. You know, the hull, like in the hull of a ship.
Yes.
Right.
And you can check me out there. All my singles I've released so far, I think I've got about 28 singles that's been released from 4 albums, 70 songs total. Now, all of those singles you can check out and freely stream them from that site. And you can also purchase them, and you can get them from any of the places that I just mentioned, iTunes and all those places, and the albums as well. And so, and also hit me up at Twitter. That's at Jerry Hull Singer, at Jerry Hull Singer. Hit me up there, and that's where you can find me.
And do you have an actual website, Jerry, that you might want to mention so people can go look at you?
Well, the website that I've got is usually the one that I go through with Reverb Nation, and there's another one that comes off of Reverb Nation. So I think it's Jerry Hull Singer Songwriter. So check that out as well. And it's going to basically be the same as the Reverb Nation one, except it's going to be kind of prettier.
Oh, nice.
Well,
nice.
I visited your website and it was gorgeous.
Thank you very much.
The artwork alone on it, it's
it
worth going
was.
there just to take a look.
Oh, appreciate that
and
very
also,
much.
can't people say hello to you on Facebook?
Yes, do that. And also, if you want to, at Reverb Nation, you can go there if you want to listen to the music. And there's a place there where you can actually ask me a question if you'd like. It's always open. Just put a question in, and I'll be glad to answer it.
Great.
And say hello to me at Twitter or whatever you want to do, and hit me up there as well.
Sounds great. Well,
Great.
I think that you are just beginning, Jerry, and you have a long career ahead of you.
Well, I think I'm just beginning to. I think I've come full circle, and it's kind of like a different era, and I've decided to just kind of slow down and get real serious about recording music because all those years, Monica, of gigging and so forth, all those 24 years, I was too young and really, to be honest, too stupid. And too busy partying. I was too busy partying. I mean, I had the capability of sitting down and writing a song, but I was just too young and too busy.
Yeah.
And so now I'm older rather, and young at heart.
There you go.
So I've got more serious.
Yeah, so Monica and I, we're young at heart. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
That's what always counts anyway.
Right.
Hey, that's the only thing that counts, isn't it?
It is.
So Jerry, one last question. What do you do for fun?
Oh, what do I do for fun? Well, my little lady here from Yorkshire and my sweet little cat, we like to go out on English countryside in the Dingley Dale. And we like to pick wild apples that grow over the tops of the footpaths that's been there for over 2,000 years. And
Oh, wow.
I like to walk across these little bridges that are, they're actually decrepit and kind of dangerous. But, she always tells me, get down from that. No, that's not her accent. I'm just making it up.
A bit of a daredevil here. Huh?
Yeah. So you have a cat. What's your cat's name?
Well, her name is Callie. And let me tell you, Callie has sent my little cat, Callie, and she was supposed to say meow in this interview, but she's been a good little girl. But she sent Punky, the cat, a special message.
Oh, Punky's listening over here. She's
Jerry,
actually a
thank
special
you
video
so
message.
much. Thank you so much for this great interview. We would like to maybe have you come back.
Carrie, I want to see.
Yeah, go ahead, Monica.
What was the special message that she's sending?
Well, you'll see it. Just check it out. The message is there.
All right.
The special message is there. It's a little video. I think it's a couple of seconds long, but it's made by Callie.
Okay, I'll let Punky know.
Kelly.
Sounds
Kelly.
good.
Okay.
Again, Jerry, thank you so much. We appreciate your time, and we'd like to have you back in a year or two if you would like, and catch up.
I'd love to.
Yeah, see what you're doing. And
Right.
So, Jerry, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. And
I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Okay, keep in touch.
Thank you very much, Monica. Thank you very much, Kerry.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jerry.
Bye-bye now.
Bye. Very cool guy.
Jerry, his voice is wonderful though. If he wasn't a singer, which he's marvelous at singing, he could be a broadcaster.
Yes, he could. He's got a great DJ voice. I was just going to mention that.
It's
Yeah.
it's it's nice and deep and
Hmm.
clear, but he's so talented.
Oh,
Oh, I can't wait. Punky's all excited now. I know
oh
folks
yeah, I
I
got to
know
see
I know
this.
Punky's not on the air with us right now, but she's right next to me over here listening to us. And she can't wait to go check that out.
Yeah.
And folks, I hope that you'll check out our guest sites that he spoke about and share him with other people because that's how they get known. And what a wonderful person Jerry Hall is.
Hmm.
And come back and join us 7 days a week. We'll be
Yep.
here streaming music, having interviews, and just having fun and supporting all these wonderful artists. So,
And check us out Sunday. We have a great show Sunday, guys, 3 p.m. Eastern.
which is what I said.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at 3 p.m., our musical guests, and 7 p.m. the rest of the time. So, folks, until then, Carrie and I are going to wish you much love. And as we always say, folks, rock on. Bye bye now.
Lately, I've had you on my mind, thinking about you, and those precious times, and what I need to say to you, tell you how I feel about you down deep inside. 'Cause you got to know that my love for you is real. And thinking that you feel the way that I do for you. Oh, girl, I'm telling you truth. Sure that rain, sure may come and take away my pain. Sure that rain, sure may rain into my heart once again. Sure that rain. Well, I just want you to know I know I messed up a lot before, but I'm just begging you, please, don't you close that door. 'Cause what I'm feeling down deep inside about you, baby, is more than I've ever felt about anyone else in my life. 'Cause you got to know that my love for you is real. And thinking that you feel the way that I do for you. Oh, girl, I'm telling you truth. Preacher Kane, $1,000 reward who brings up into claim. Preacher Kane, you know he lives the life of a gunslinger's game. Preacher Kane, Preacher Kane. Preacher Kane.